The best kind of relationship to have with a Nigerian parent is a long distance relationship. Hello, this is an actual Orisha. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. In 2022, I moved out of my parents' house, and it was supposed to be a temporary thing. I wanted to come back, I just wanted to test the waters, and I'm going to tell you, moving out of my parents' house and living by myself for nearly 2 years was one of the best decisions that I've ever made as an adult. This video is especially for young women, and I say especially for young women because in Nigeria, I don't know about other parts of Africa, but in Nigeria, it is expected that as a lady, you don't move out of your parents' house unless you're getting married. It's supposed to be from your parents' house to your husband's house. And maybe one day I'm going to make a video to talk about how harmful that mentality is. But for now, let's just talk about why it is very important and right for a young adult to move out of their parents' house and be on their own for a while. Now, it can be forever, of course, but I'd advise moving out for a while just to test the waters, just like I did. You know what I believe? This might be controversial, but I believe that if you want to be a well-rounded adult, if you want to be a self-aware, fulfilled adult, you need to move out of your parents' house. You just have to move out of your parents' house, especially if you have African or Nigerian parents. It is not news that Nigerian parents are controlling and have little to no knowledge on the concept of boundaries. In this video, I'm going to give you 5 quick reasons why you should move out of your parents' house. One reason you should move out of your parents' house is to learn more about yourself. When I moved out of my parents' house, I already had a chunk of self-awareness. I understood myself to a great extent because thankfully I have parents that sort of let you be on your own. I had a lot of time to myself to think, to, form my own identity to an extent. However, moving out of my parents' house helped me learn things about myself that I didn't even know, prior to leaving my parents' house. For instance, when I was living with my parents, I hated to cook. I had convinced myself that the worst thing ever was cooking. And I even once joked to my friend that when I, move out of my parents' house permanently, I was going to build a house and I'll make sure that my house doesn't have a kitchen. That's how much I hated cooking. However, when I moved out and to be on my own, I suddenly developed a serious love for cooking. I would be in the kitchen for hours trying out different recipes that I had learned on YouTube and on blogs, on cooking blogs, and I loved every minute of it. I enjoyed cooking. I would cook for my friends, I would cook for my neighbor, and I would cook for myself. It was awesome. I even started a cooking business. It was short-lived because I had to resume school, but it was fulfilling. I did not know that I actually loved cooking that much. Aside from learning that I love to cook, I also learned that I really loved hosting people. I loved hosting friends and family. I just generally loved hosting. And it was strange because when I was living with my parents, I thought I hated guests. And I did hate guests. But I just realized when I started to live alone that I don't hate guests. I love to entertain, to host and all that. It was just that I did not like my parents' guests. Moving out of your parents' house will help you learn things about yourself. And in Africa, we have this culture of parents thinking that their children are an extension of themselves. So sometimes some of the thoughts that you have, your personality traits, are not really you. They are just things and qualities that you adopted from your parents or that your parents forced on you. You may enjoy going to church or your religious houses when you're living with your parents, and when you move out, you realize that you actually don't enjoy going to those places. I know someone who used to hate going to church when she was living with her parents, but after she moved out of her parents' house, she suddenly loved going to church because when she started to live on her own, she could choose the church that she wanted to attend. She didn't feel obligated to attend the church. So it became more fun for her and it was a nice experience for her. Moving out of your parents' house will help you see yourself outside of the lens of what your parents think you are or what they expect you to be. You're also free to be yourself when you are no longer living with your parents. If you come from a family where you're not allowed to dress in a certain way, when you start living on your own, you can dress in whatever way that you like. You also get to be the one who determines your fate. You get to decide what kind of relationship you want to have with your neighbors. You get to decide what you want to do with your life in general. And that brings me to the second point. Moving out of your parents' house will help you practice adulthood. You get to decide what kind of adult you want to be, what kind of relationship you want to have with others, what your boundaries are. Another reason to move out of your parents' house is that you get to be the decider of your own fate. You get to decide, oh, this is who I want to be, and this is how I want to be in my own house. Say, for instance, you had parents who would let visitors come into your bedrooms and whatever. You get to decide if you want your visitors in your bedroom. You get to decide what kind of visitors you want to have. Do you not like having visitors who sleep over? Do you not like having visitors who, whatever it is that you want for yourself, you get to make the rules because it is your house and you get to try out being an adult. A lot of people are terrified of adulthood. Like, people are close to graduation and they are shaking in their boots. Living alone or moving out of your parents' house and being by yourself will help you learn how to be an adult. You get to try it out, and there's always that knowledge that, oh, I can move back to my parents' house if I want to. That's if you have parents who are open to it and didn't throw a fit when you decided that you want to move out. But the thing is, when you move out to be on your own, you get to create your own rules as an adult. You get to decide what kind of relationship you want to have with your neighbors. Do you want to have kind of relationship where your neighbors can walk into your house at any time, they have an extra key, or do you want to not have any kind of relationship whatsoever with your parents? You get to decide because you own your space, and that is just liberating. The third reason to move out of your parents' house is to move out of your comfort zone. Your parents' house is your comfort zone. You need to separate yourself from your parents or leave your comfort zone to do well in life. Now, there are people who make it living with their parents. They live very fulfilled lives, have great jobs, are fulfilled in every way living with their parents. But in Africa, that is very uncommon. It is not common to see people who have well-rounded lives while living with their parents in our part of the country. So if you want to succeed, you want to really have a change of mentality, you may need to move out of your parents' house. Some of us have parents who have the scarcity mindset. You have parents who can be quite negative, who have limiting beliefs and, are very pessimistic people. If you want to have a change in mindset, if you want to improve your mindset and take your mind from that of scarcity to abundance, you might need to move out of your parents' house. For those people who are looking to change their self-concept, they are looking to sort of like reorganize their lives and take themselves to the next level, especially if you grew up poor or you grew up in a sort of abusive environment or an environment where it's just lack all around. You need to separate yourself from your parents. You need to move out of your comfort zone if you want to be better. Another reason to move out of your parents' house is to earn your respect. Nigerian parents and African parents in general tend to respect you more when you leave their houses. They tend to respect you as another adult when you're no longer in their houses. And of course, you hear a lot of African parents say things like, oh, as long as you're under my roof, blah, 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 rules will apply. And I respect that because, come on, it is their house. When you move out of your parents' house, I think it forces them to snap out of thinking that you're an extension of them. They start to see you as another human being separate from them, another adult, and they are forced to respect you. So if you find that your parents don't respect you, you might need to start working on moving out of their house. Lastly, you get to have a better sexual and social life when you move out of your parents' house. A lot of people think that it is abominable for you as a young person to want to move out of your parents' house because they're like, oh, then you're going to have guys over, especially if you're a lady, you're going to have guys over, yada, yada, yada. And to that, I say, what is so wrong with that? I don't know anyone, I haven't met anyone who wanted to move out of their parents' house just so they can have guys over. But I don't see anything wrong in that being one of the reasons you want to move out of your parents' house. So yeah, you do get to invite boys over, you get to invite your friends over, your social life improves, and so does your sexual life if you want it to improve. So yeah, those are the reasons you should move out of your parents' house. If you've been considering moving out of your parents' house, please do so today because life is too short, right? Life is too short to spend your whole years as a young adult in your parents' house following and living by their rules, especially if you're a lady who wants to get married in the future. You really do not want your life to be, oh, before I was living with my parents and now I'm living with my husband. You never get a chance to be by yourself and to form a healthy and strong self-concept. That is just too sad. You need to live and be on your own. So let's go over the reasons I stated in this video again. 1, you get to learn about yourself. 2, you get to practice adulthood and become less terrified of it. 3, you get to leave your comfort zone, and leaving your comfort zone is great for your growth. 4, your parents respect you. And 5, you get to have a better sexual and social life.